Did you know how big of a deal it was going to be?
No.
My mother would tell me so many stories about my father.
Breaking Bad changed my life in a great way. It was a dream come true. But it also showed me how dark this industry can really be.
How have you seen money corrupt people in Hollywood?
People will sacrifice who they are for money, for clout, for whatever that is. When you have someone that desperately needs it, that's willing to do anything, that's where you get into a very dangerous scenario of power. It was just one of those days you get a letter and it's like your heart drops. I trusted them and they basically stole everything. And because of that, I paid more in taxes than I got from Breaking Bad.
Were these like Hollywood elites? Were these people that people would know?
RJ, thank you so much for coming on the Iced Coffee Hour.
Dude, such a pleasure to be here.
I really appreciate it, man. You seem very well adjusted. Why do you think so many child actors end up going off the rails or having difficulty later in life?
So I started when I was 12. I was doing like extra work and stuff like that. And, you know, living in the industry is very different, but living in California and, you know, when you're hot, and you're not. And when you're a young kid and you're easily influenced and, you know, it's the stars, it's the people, it's like it's glitz and glamour and all these things. And, you know, I find you don't see like the forest through the trees, right? And, you know, you hear a lot about drug abuse and a lot of like drug activity and kids getting into stuff young and then affecting them and they come out later in life. And when you're popular, it's free, right? Everyone's like, people offer me stuff all the time. And I'm like, I'm good on that. I've seen enough problems. I don't need any problems.
Who is offering you stuff?
Random
just at parties
people.
and like Hollywood just...
I was speaking at a university and you know, with Breaking Bad, with the drug content, people are like always talking about different types of drugs and like different types of comments, and it's there. Like, you know, like you don't have to look very far anywhere in the world to find these types of entities that will be offering or trying to sell and trying to hook. And, you know, for years, it's like people will be like, here you go, here's free drinks. I mean, look at every event that you'll go to, like at clubs and parties, it's all open bar. So imagine young kids are going to open bars. They're hot. They just want an Emmy. They just want an Oscar. They just whatever it is. And like no one's really protecting them because they're a star. They don't need protection. And let's go fast forward 10 years. Well, the bar's not open anymore. So now you have people that have been partying and living a certain life for so long, and everyone fades out over time. You know, you can't be at the top of the mountain forever. And it's a long way down from the top. And so you've lived this lifestyle for so long, you know, that's where you see people that are making a lot of money and their bills get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the money stops. And then it's like everything's gone. And there's no protection in that. There's no one saying like, hey, slow down. Like, it's like, no, you got to keep going. You got to make that check. You got to get out there and keep pushing until one day you either, I say pressure is great for making diamonds, but it also can make rubble and it can destroy people. And I just think you can't always keep pushing hard. You got to take time for yourself.
What was the closest you got to falling into that pressure?
I don't really you know, I grew up in a weird environment where I was very family oriented at a young age. So like I would like to go out and I like to go out and have fun, but my responsibilities have kind of always overshadowed what I want to go have fun versus me having a greater responsibility and the consequences. Everything I do, I look at, all right, cause and effect. What is the consequence to my action? Is it a positive consequence or is it a negative consequence? And I think throughout my life, I've had very different like positive influences and negative influences. But I've always saw the aftermath in different capacities. And I think it's really just about, staying true to who you are. And, going to the parties, going to the Hollywood stuff, it's cool, but like, it wears on you and you just can't do it forever.
What do you think should be done for child actors in the future to prevent them from falling into that?
I mean, there's not really a way to prevent people from living life. Like, I'm not a parent yet, but I have many friends who are parents, and I've raised my sister in a capacity and take care of my family. And, I think we always want the best for our children. And I think it's think of their needs before your own, and especially when it comes to an industry where it's very predatory. Like the entertainment industry, I mean, you can go back and look at history on it. It's not the kindest business, and it's not a very forgiving business. And I think it's about staying true to who you are, instilling in your children, instilling in your team that's like, hey, like these are not the avenues you want to go, and using previous examples of look at what happened when they did these things. Do you want to be like that? It's like, do you want to be like your uncle? Like, do you want to be like this? And it's like, again, when you're at the top of it, no one's telling you these things. No one's encouraging you to be good. They want you to be out there. They want the sensationalism. And I think it's about, saying like, it's like, you don't have to get out there to be whatever it is they think you are, as long as you stay true to yourself. And I think that kind of will protect you.
Did you see the Charlie Sheen documentary?
I haven't, but I want to.
Oh my gosh, I just started it. He was able to hide a lot of this stuff. A lot of his usage, you would have no idea. And he would just go to such an extreme, but he was able to get his work done, which is the most mind-boggling thing about it.
And that's all they care about, really. It's like, are you showing up to time on work? Are you saying your lines? Are you hitting your marks? And that consistency, people can hide their problems outside of that. Like, drug abuse is such a rampant issue. And like, it happens under people's noses all the time. Like with Breaking Bad, I did work with the DEA, and we had different enforcements and educational type structures in the show on like what these are, and people hide it really well. Some of your like closest friends and family that you would never guess might,
I know it's really common, or more common than one would think, in like investment banking and private equity. Like people are doing a lot of like COCAINE in that industry, as well as other like crazy drugs. And those are high performers. Those are people that are working like 80 to 100-hour weeks.
Well, but that's why they're doing those substances. Like that's why you'll see a lot of that. I mean, look at Wolf of Wall Street. Look at these types of investment movies and shows where it's like they have that high pressure, high stress, where they're putting, 24-hour days and like taking clients out, and it's the game, the game of whatever they're trying to play, and it's wild. It's out there. The stuff's out there. But if you're smart about it and you just kind of mind your own business and don't tattle, like be like, I'm not involved, but you do what you want. Like,
what was the main reason you wanted to get into acting?
I started acting to meet kids my own age. So my sister got cast out of a water park when she was 1.5 years old. And that took us to California. It was for a Lucille Ball campaign. And I was around 11, 12. My mom, right after my sister was born, was in a car accident and was partially paralyzed for about 7 years. Wow. And my grandparents were both sick, one living in Texas, one in Louisiana. And so we were traveling between the two a lot. And this was kind of an opportunity for us to have a vacation. This job that my sister got as a baby was a 6-month run at Universal, and we're like, yeah, let's do this thing. It's a 6-month paid vacation. And I just was with them and was like, okay, I guess I'm going to try doing it as well. And I started doing extra work. And I was on shows like Hannah Montana, Everybody Hates Chris, Weed, Seventh Heaven, Drill Bit Taylor, as an extra. And that's the one thing that like I recommend to people is if they want to get in the entertainment industry, especially acting, extra work is like my number one step to getting into it. Because you're going to find out if you like it or not. If you can handle being an extra, you can handle all the other stuff. But there's a lot of people that can't handle the extra work because like they don't always treat you right. It's super long hours, and you know you're low man on the totem pole. They could be like, you know, you're a disruption, never come back. And so I just started doing that to meet kids my own age. And was auditioning as well for other shows. Actually, my very first audition was an anti-meth campaign for the state of California. And I didn't get it, of course.
What do they have you say?
Well, it wasn't really having me say anything. The commercial aired. I saw the commercial many, many years ago. You could probably find it on YouTube. But it's this guy that comes in high on meth. And like I auditioned for one of the kids, the family, right? There's like a mom and two kids, and the dad comes in high on meth and like screaming and throwing things, and it was just like us being afraid, and I didn't get it. I didn't get the audition, but about 6 months to a year later, I started auditioning for Breaking Bad, and that changed my life.
So who gave you the script for this?
So I was auditioning through my agent and my manager at the time, just in general. And Breaking Bad came along specifically seeking people with disabilities. And what was funny is at the time, I didn't like, you know, there were certain auditions I would send in my resume that had cerebral palsy on it. And there were more often than not, the ones that did not say that I had a disability on my resume. And this one specifically came in looking for someone with cerebral palsy. And at the time, there wasn't really a lot of us in the media. You know, there wasn't really a lot of diversification as far as people with disabilities. And so they really wanted someone with a disability. And Sharon Bradley, the casting director for Breaking Bad, who had already cast Brian, Aaron, Betsy. The whole family was cast except for me. I was Walt Jr. was the very last cast part. And so I auditioned over 6 months. And my last 2 auditions were I auditioned in LA. They're like, hey, so they like you. You're moving on. They're already filming in New Mexico, the show at the time, in Albuquerque. So we're going to fly you to New Mexico to meet the team there to audition for Vince in person, as well as do a test screening with Brian and Anna. And I literally flew in, got in at like 6, 7 in the morning, auditioned at 9. They sent me away. It was against one other person. At the time, it was narrowed down between the 2 of us, and they called me back in for a test screening, and then they were like, okay, thank you. I met Brian and Anna. They sent me to my room, and I went to bed. I had a flight at like 2:00 that day. They called me. Vince calls me and goes, hey, so you got the part. Congratulations. Go pack your bags because you're already late. We're already filming, so we need you back here.
Did you know how big of a deal it was going to be? And like, at what point did you realize, oh, like this is going to be one of the biggest shows of all time?
You know, we knew we had something special. Like, we knew the show was like, when you read the script, I recommend to people all the time, like, read the pilot. If you're going to be in the industry at all, read the pilot episode of Breaking Bad, because that is, in my opinion, one of the best written episodes, movie, whatever you want to consider it. And because I consider it more of a movie than a show, that pilot episode, because there's this beginning, middle, and end. And when you read it, it just leaves you with this like, what moment? And again, we knew it was special, but you just don't know. And Breaking Bad was not liked in the beginning. Like,
how long did you think that the show was going to be? Did they fully write out the entirety of the show in the beginning, or did they write it as they were filming?
I every season kind of was written as the seasons progressed. We had an amazing writing team, Vince Gilligan, Peter Gohl, and so many other amazing writings. Like a lot of them still work together, with Better Call Saul and El Camino. But it was kind of one of those things that we could kind of see where it was going, but we really didn't. At any moment something could happen to these characters, and they felt very real and organic, and in the scenes everything just kind of made sense. But we got as the series went on later and later, they had to be careful with the scripts. People were leaking. In the beginning, everyone got a script. Towards the end, you got your parts. So a lot of times you didn't really know. Brian and Aaron, they knew because they were in every scene. But we really just didn't know.
So you wouldn't get the entire script?
At the last 2 seasons, that we didn't get the entire scripts.
What would you say was the pivotal moment of the show where it went from something that wasn't very well liked to something that was like, okay, everyone is obsessing over this?
I think Netflix. Really put Breaking Bad on the map as far as just accessibility to the show.
That's when I found it.
Yeah. We were actually one of the most pirated shows in the history of television. Huge in Eastern Europe.
Wow.
Who would have thunk, right?
But it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. I read something that said that after Breaking Bad, meth quality actually went up.
I would believe that. I would definitely. I would. I mean, I don't condone in that drug, but hopefully it's better products for people. No, I think it really spotlighted, this form of drug abuse in communities. In the early 2000s, meth was kind of more of like out in the woods. No one's doing meth. It's these far away places, and in reality, it's in our backyard. And I think Breaking Bad really opened the doors on the awareness of methamphetamine in our communities. And some people really thought that we were glorifying it in the beginning, that we were was promoting it. And if you really watch the show, it doesn't end well for Walter White. Like, it really destroys his whole entire family, and I think it's something that really was an eye opener for many people.
Now, really quick, before we go into that, in business, they say that you could have better, cheaper, or faster, but you could only pick 2.
Well, what if you could have all 3 at the same time? That's exactly what Cohere, Thomson Reuters, and Specialized Bikes have, since they've upgraded to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure.
For those unaware, OCI is a blazing fast platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs, where you could run any workload in a high availability, consistently high performance environment, and spend less than you would than with other clouds. How is it faster? Well, OCI's block storage gives you more operations per second. How is it cheaper? Well, OCI costs 50% less for compute, 70% less on storage, and 80% less for networking. How is it better? Well, in test after test, OCI customers report lower latency and higher bandwidth versus other clouds. This is really the cloud built for AI and all of your biggest workloads.
Well, right now, with 0 commitment, you can try OCI for free at oracle.com/iced. Once again, that is oracle.com/iced. There's also a link down below in the description. You can just click it right there. Thank you so much to Oracle for sponsoring this episode.
What was the filming schedule like?
Dude, 16-hour days. Like we were sometimes shooting 6-7 days a week, 2-man teams. One time our film got run over by an airplane. Yeah. And leaving studio, because we shot on film. We were one of the last series and shows, I guess, to shoot on film. 35 millimeter. And so we would film, and that's what really, when it comes to like time restrictions and pressure on set, we had a finite amount of film. Some of these film rolls, you're talking like $250,000, $75,000 just for like the rolls of these films. And one day it was being shipped because we had Albuquerque being, one of the main bases for us, but we also had the editing studios in California, and so we would have to send those to California. And apparently one day some of them got left out and a plane ran over them, and we had to reshoot that whole, I don't know how many days it was, but that was a nightmare. And we were running camera teams A and B and trying to make it up to get back on top of the schedule.
How do you memorize your lines?
I have a couple of different ways to memorize lines, and I think it's different for everyone. I say lines rhythmically. I kind of, when I talk and when I'm reading my lines, I read them in a rhythm, and so it gives you the basis of kind of what they're saying, and then I sleep on it. I read my lines the night before of what I'm doing that next day, and I go to sleep on those lines. And so I kind of believe that when you read at the end of the night, whatever you're reading, it soaks in your brain more. You sometimes, like, I'll sometimes run my lines in my dreams, and I find it helps it be more organic.
What was the most difficult line for you to present?
See, in Breaking Bad, none, man, because it was so well written. Like, Breaking Bad was oddly one of the easiest jobs I've ever had, in the sense of just quality. And when you said a line, it made sense. Like, I've done some movies and stuff where I'm reading and I got big monologues, and I'm like, man, how am I supposed to say this? And they're like, yeah, you just say it. And I'm like, you say it, and they can't.
But let's just say you get like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
Do they want it to be said verbatim, like word for word, or do they say just get this point across, and how you do it, we don't care?
It depends on the director. Depends on the writer, and it depends on the director. Sometimes they want you to say what they wrote. Like every writer does not want you to ad-lib. Any writer that's very proud of their work, they're definitely not going to want you to ad-lib. But as far as like with Breaking Bad and some other projects, if the ad-lib makes sense, or like, the in the pilot episode, the do I look like a skater stuff, some of that was ad-libbed, and it worked. But when it came down to like a lot of it, you did what they put on the page. But again, with Breaking Bad, it was so well written, like the lines, the movement, even the environment, like on the page. So when you read it, you saw it. There was no question about it.
Was there any impromptu lines or impromptu things that just kind of happened that ended up making it into the show that were a fan favorite? I always think about this one clip I see all the time. I think it's Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. And they were in the back of a car, and they were filming a scene for Avengers or something. Yeah. And Tom Holland Robert Downey Jr. goes to like assist Tom with like opening up the car door or something, and then Tom thinks he's going in for a hug, and so he hugs him, and it's like super, super awkward, and then they just rolled with it, and it was like a fan favorite, and you could see like the natural reaction of
the cohesiveness. No, there was lots of different moments like that, and I think a lot of it was pausing. Like, a lot of it was looks on the show. It was more of like just like a look that you would give, and nothing's sticking out, but I think one of the things that always sticks out that's a fan favorite is the pizza on the roof. That was a one and done, because they tried to recreate it and it didn't happen again.
Have you seen the videos of the lady coming out of the house yelling at people? What do you think of that?
I think when you have one of the most famous houses in the world, and definitely one of the most infamous houses in the state of New Mexico, it comes with a responsibility, and it comes with accountability, and I think you kind of have to have some leeway with it. I knew the lady that owns the house now. I knew her parents really well, and during Breaking Bad in the beginning, they got, as the show ended, they got much older, and people were breaking into their house. Like, they were waking up, finding people in their living room. It wasn't like just like people were trying to get into the house, and that's why they raised the fence. Sadly, it just keep escalating, and I think she's trying to sell it at the moment.
Yeah, she's asking $3.9 million.
See, that just seems like she doesn't care that much about the attention. Because if she really cared, she would sell it at market or even a little bit above market.
She said that it was her family's house. It's been in the family for a long time. You just can't sell it. But if she were to sell it, she'll take
$4 million.
Yeah,
it seems people are speculating online that she does actually enjoy the attention a little bit, but I don't know how true that is.
She goes out and yells at everybody.
I think she does. I think it does give her purpose a little. Again, it's a fine line. Like she's nice to me.
Do you talk to her?
We saw her. We were just in New Mexico not too long ago, and we saw her. And so,
did you hit her up?
No, it was just, it's Albuquerque, man.
Do you just show up to the house?
No. I back in the day, because I was really close to the family because we spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
But people all think that the inside is what this inside of the show looks like, and it's not. We shot all the interior, most of the interior, on a soundstage. The only thing about the house is the exterior and the backyard. But I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, man. I think maybe 2 million, a million and a half. I think $1.5 million.
So much money giving tours of the house. Someone can pay a lot of money to go up on the roof to try to find a little bit of pizza and then sell that.
Airbnb would be crazy at even $1,500 a night.
It's not the same inside.
It doesn't matter. Just to be able to stay at the house.
To be able to stay at the house, people would pay.
I would pay $1,500 a night.
I think that would be the smart. I agree with that, but I think it would take a lot of infrastructure.
Would you buy the house?
Oh yeah.
How much would you pay?
Not $4 million, I tell you that. I mean, so everything in that house value is around $350. I've
looked at this estimate.
Yeah, I've looked at the numbers. So my number for the house, the actual number that I've come up with, and I think Walter White, the White House value, I'm thinking 1.2. Just out of names, of the environment. But if the neighborhood's nice, but it's not a $4 million nice neighborhood, you know what I mean? You can't have that. You're going to destroy the market in that community.
But here's the thing: she putting it up at that price gets a lot of publicity because I saw that listing went up. It was on the front page of Yahoo and CNN and all these places. The Breaking Bad house is for sale, asking $4 million. That drives a lot of people to go and just take a look at it again.
But there's a fence though, man. That's my thing is I wish the city of Albuquerque or the state would, redo it. She put up the fence. They've done a lot of remodeling. Yeah. It's not the same house. But I wish whatever the state or someone would come in and bring it back to what it originally was. Because it was a great house. And, it really means a lot to a lot of fans. And I think the impact that Breaking Bad has had on the city of New Mexico, there has been positive aspects. There's been negative aspects, but there's also been many positive aspects. And
I think, Bryan Cranston should buy it.
If anyone could buy it, Bryan could probably buy it.
There's a Simpsons house in Vegas. You know that?
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean Simpsons house?
It's the house that it's identical to The Simpsons. It was either The Simpsons was based on this house or this house was created to be identical to The Simpsons house. And you could drive by it.
I had no idea.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yes. It looks almost identical to the real Simpsons house.
See, the question is how many people try to break into it, though?
Nobody breaks into it as far as I'm aware. But it does become a bit of a tourist attraction where you could go and look at the Simpsons house in Las Vegas.
That's pretty sick. I think I've seen it on Instagram. There's a lot of, I think what they've done, the Sopranos home.
Yeah.
And Beverly Hills, the houses in, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and stuff like that. I find these are staples of television history. And I think when a house gets to that point, there should be some form of historical preservation.
You know what? You're right, because the Home Alone house, they were asking $5.9 million. And I actually thought objectively it was a good deal. The Brady Bunch house, I remember when that got listed, they got 100 offers on this house. And it sold way over asking, I believe, to HGTV, because they were going to do something with it. But their other bidder was either from NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. It was some musical artist who is like bidding against HGTV to buy the Brady Bunch house. But it's a one of a kind house.
See, that's the thing. It's you're not necessarily buying the property, you're buying the history. Like, I do a lot of work with historical preservation and restoring historical stuff in Texas. And, it's one of those things that 100 years, 50 years will go, I was being generous with 100. 50 years will go by and these, like, people will still go visit these iconic locations and it carries over. And so I think that's what the number is the history.
I'm telling you, we could make a fortune if we go 50-50 on this house, do Airbnb on it, but you promote the house.
See, I'm
that would do
more
well.
Like 80-20?
Like, yeah. No, 80-20.
Oh.
There's got to be
'cause
some component of you marketing the house, but I honestly think as an Airbnb, it would
crush.
insane numbers. Someone has to plug the cash flow on this, because at a certain price, you could overpay for it and make your money back in the first year.
Graham, you're giving away some sauce right here.
I mean,
though. Like,
yeah,
someone's going to do this. No one's going to do it. That's what I'm saying.
But
If we did it,
I mean,
it would do so well.
I'll keep an eye on it. I think it would do well. I think it would be more than a year to get your capital, especially.
No, but just the amount you overpay. I'm saying if it's like worth 1.2 and you pay 1.5, let's just say, you make your money back, you whittle it down.
I think you're probably gonna make it back in like 5 years. Like you can't gouge
$1,500
people.
a night. I think people will pay $1,500 a night to stay at the Breaking Bad house. Minimum of 2 nights.
That's
$3,000.
still going to take a long time to make it. I guess if you put 20% down, but what kind of bank is going to lend against $4 million house?
Pledged asset line.
I mean, hey, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
I'm curious, for the budget of Breaking Bad, what did they pay you just for that first episode? These days, it seems like everybody is chasing the next big thing in investing, such as myself. But if you're actually serious about it, you need a platform built for that. That's exactly why today's sponsor is Public, the investing platform built for serious investors.
With Public, what's great is that you could invest in stocks, crypto, bonds, options, and more, all within one app.
Plus, you can even earn an industry-leading APY on your cash with no subscriptions or minimums. But what really sets Public apart is how AI is woven into the entire experience. From portfolio insights to AI-powered earnings call recaps, Public gives you smarter context at every touchpoint.
And here's a huge benefit. Public gives you an uncapped 1% match when you transfer your portfolio, including IRA rollovers and contributions. Again, that is just money added straight to your account.
And funding your account takes literally less than 5 minutes, so check them out today at public.com/iced or just click the link down below in the description. Once again, that is public.com/iced.
Paid for by Public Investing. Full disclosures down below in the description.
Yeah. What did they pay you just for that first episode?
Minimum, because it was my very first speaking job ever, like ever. So I got the regular SAG minimum for it.
I heard, I was researching online. That it was
we did not have a lot of money. Like Breaking Bad was not like very lucrative as far as like across the board. Every season we were told that we were canceled. We just did not have the viewership until streaming. That was our big moment, was when streaming came in and people binge viewed Breaking Bad. But up until that point, it was a struggle every year. And Vince and the writing team, they fought. And a gentleman who worked at AMC at the time named Charlie Collier, and he really fought to keep Breaking Bad on AMC. Like, it was a battle.
So I read online it was $250 for the pilot.
Like, for who?
For you.
$250.
Was it just for the pilot? See, yeah, I read something online, and again, this is online.
No,
but it was either like a Wikipedia or like
the basic SAG recurring scale. I don't. Trust me, it wasn't much.
It's crazy to me. Do you get residuals though on streaming? Because I thought that was the big.
No, it doesn't exist anymore. Like that's been a big issue over the past decade in our industry, especially with older actors. The streaming services, you don't really get your residuals, and your residuals, once you get older, your residuals are pretty much what keeps your insurance alive. Like once you can't work anymore, and so like it's a very niche industry. I've seen how these types of interviews work and how the new media structure works. As far as like television and film, streaming is good for the networks themselves, but as far for the artists, you're kind of getting the minimum. You get more reach, you can make a name for yourself, but it's not like it used to be.
So when they took it from TV to Netflix, you didn't see a huge skyrocket in income despite the show being viewed more times than ever.
No, you get one check and you're like, catch you in 9 years. And like that check is like, I mean, I'm not saying that they weren't paying people on Breaking Bad, but I was the youngest kid on the show. You know what I mean? It was my very first role.
So what could happen if you're like 6 seasons in or 5 seasons into Breaking Bad and you're just like, I'm done? What are you contractually obligated to keep going for as long as they want you to go? Or like, what happens if you just want to step back?
Well, with a show like Breaking Bad, you usually die. They
write it in.
But then sometimes they revisit it, like in Dexter. You know how his dad always comes back, and it's like,
see, but if you look at like some of those connections and relationships with the actual main character, like number one on the call sheet, right? Like those people are really ingrained deep into like the producing, writing opinions. Like they're not just acting; they're across the board on decision making for the show. And so like they will be like, "I like this guy. I don't care what y'all say. We're bringing him back." And again, that can create conflict. But
that's interesting. So they just like, if you want to step back, they just basically make it so you've died.
Like if you wanted out in like an assholey kind of way, yeah. Like shows like Breaking Bad, shows like Dexter, like, oh dude, accidents happen all the time. Like especially for these characters.
But then you also probably ruin your reputation in that circle of like, this guy just walked out on us. Let's not work on.
Why would you work with someone that's kind of like so here's it's funny that you bring that up. So I was in a roller coaster accident. While I was filming Breaking Bad. I had like a metal bar shot in my arm.
What?
And, like, ripped out all my like elbow stuff.
How?
I think I was like 15.
Oh, wait, how does this happen?
So it, don't go the first week to a brand new roller coaster.
And it was you that got hit. Was someone else around you that also?
I was like the 9th person that got injured that day.
Did they have insurance? That's the first thing in my mind.
So what I messed up was I didn't want to wait for the ambulance. It was like a 45-minute wait. And so I was like, I'm going to my hospital right now. Cause like this kid's like, I'm like bleeding out of my elbow. Well, here. The ride starts, it hits me in the arm, and then the ride takes off. So the pressure builds and builds and builds in my elbow. And as we're going through this, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, man, this is gonna hurt tomorrow. Cause of the adrenaline. And the ride stops and I just hear screaming. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened behind me? And we go to get off, and everyone behind me is wiping like blood off of them. And I'm like, "What happened?" And this worker, like that was working the ride, is like, "You're bleeding." And I'm like, "Huh?" And I look down, and I'm just like, river.
Wait, so what exactly did you hit your arm on?
So apparently that's a very good question that we never fully found the answer to after a lawsuit. But going to my point of why I bring this up is they told me, because I went through like 3 surgeries and like they gave me a bunch of pills and I'm like, I'm not taking these pills. And after 3 surgeries after that, they're like, look, like you're injured, but if you were that injured, you should quit your job. And my job was Breaking Bad. And so like I made the decision. I was like, I'm done with you guys. Whatever. I've done the surgeries, I've done the things, I've done the nerve testing. Like I'm not quitting my job. And just like buried it. Like, like just did the physical therapy.
You didn't get like a huge payout from this? Or maybe there was something
I didn't get
behind
it.
the scenes.
I got my medical bills covered, which was like a lot.
Still,
I know.
My gosh!
But that was the point. If I wanted the payout, I had to quit the show.
So your elbow was like kind of like.
Oh, dude! I mean, you can't see it on camera, but you see there's like a little hole, right?
Yeah.
It like shot in and like rotated.
Whoa!
See the right? It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt at all.
That's
But what
crazy.
hurt the most is when I got to the hospital because they're like, hey, so we can't x-ray it because it's a puncture wound. We have to, we got to make sure there's no metal in it. And that, in my opinion, was I'd probably say in the top 5 most painful things I've experienced in my life. And this dude sat on top of me because of the angle. I had to lay like this, and this big nurse was with these big old long pliers just digging in my arm. And like I had like headphones on, I'm just like listening to something. And like I'm just like good times. But the reason why I bring that is they wanted me to quit the show, you know? And when you have a show and you have something that you feel very passionate about, there's no reason to walk away from it. You know, there's every reason to, no matter what, push forward and make it happen regardless.
Jeez.
So we're mostly like a financial podcast. It's sort of where we're coming from. And you've claimed before that Breaking Bad did not make you a millionaire.
No, not even.
Not even
Right.
close?
I've paid more in taxes than I got from Breaking Bad.
How is that possible?
It's just the name of the game with it. Like, you know, young kid, like I didn't really see a lot of I had a big team at one point, and I was traveling the world doing stuff, and like so mostly my team, like I was paying to keep my career going.
Oh,
you know?
I see.
Like I was paying to keep pushing forward and to keep doing that, and everything went back into the business. So like as far as like excess,
Did you have the Coogan account as a
did.
kid? So it was that was going in there.
yeah, but not even close to triple digits.
See, what's crazy is that Google says your net worth is $5 million. Where did they get that number from?
I honestly don't know. I think it's what I've earned in my entire life. One thing that did put a damper on me, I did have a bad business manager. I did.
Ugh.
I got royally like hammered
What happened?
in my last 4 years of my highest earning series.
What was the justification behind the business manager making certain decisions?
I wanted to protect my funds, so I got I was 18, 19, like 17, 18. You hear all the bad stories, right?
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I wanted to I was like, okay, I'm going to get a business accountant. Like up until that point, I always managed it. My family, we always, filled the sheets out, did the things, always had it. And then I was like, I really, everyone's kind of pushing me to make sure that I have a proper accountant. Dude, I got eaten.
So did he just invest your money poorly, or did he siphon funds from you? Like, what was the main?
And what year was that?
So I was around 17. So I'd probably say this was around like 2011.
Rough time in the market.
Like 2011, 2012, 2013. And so like I can't go into details because this person, I don't know, is still out there, but I know she got 14 other actors. I was like one of this big group that she was targeting, like primarily people with disabilities, elderly, like older actors in the industry, and worked at the sheriff's department where she had her office at. So you would have to file at that to,
Sure.
and
But how does she lose the money? Like, is it poor investments? Is it high expenses? You just didn't get it?
No, she didn't lose it.
She was just siphoning
She was
funds.
siphoning funds. Like literally I would write a check. I write a check and like to go pay my taxes. And instead of her using it to pay my taxes, she would send me a fake filing of taxes and take that money. And so at the end of the day, though, it's my negligence. So regardless with that, the IRS doesn't really care about you. They only care that you make sure that you are paying it. And anyone else that handles that is your fault because you did not do your due diligence.
Is she still working today, or is she like in jail?
She's around.
That's what happened to the guy. I'm blanking
It's
on
very
his name.
common. It only took me 10 years to pay it off.
10 years to pay off your taxes?
It was a rough thing. But like, it was a lesson learned. And it's like, I've always been very savvy in my finances. I was treasurer for my organization for 8 years, and we've always done well, and I've always been very good about it. And I look at it as a blessing, and a curse. But it gave me knowledge that like no one has.
Steve Harvey had the same
Yeah.
thing happen to him.
Yeah.
Same thing. He was paying his accountant. The accountant would cash the check, and then he would just get a fake receipt.
A fake receipt. Yeah, they just make a mock of it. It all looks legit, and they're like, "Here you go." And then like 3 or 4 or 5 years later, with compound interest at like 13, 14% or 17% interest on that total number for each year, you get this nice big check coming for you.
How did you get a letter from the IRS?
I didn't get one until it was like too late. Like, yeah.
Did people show up at your house?
No, I have attorneys and stuff that I've like, cause I work, I'm on top of stuff. But I wasn't on top of that. And so like, it was just one of those days you get a letter and it's like, your heart drops.
Who do you call after you get that letter?
You call your CPA. You call
what did
a
she
license.
say?
Well, you don't, not her. You call another attorney. You call a forensic accountant. And then you figure out, okay, what happened?
What did she say?
Good luck.
How?
Would she even talk to you?
I mean, it was it was really, really complicated. Like so I was young enough to really be able to like, I cut her off. I canceled the accounts. We shut down the system. We shut down the bleeding. And luckily I immediately was like, hey guys, like we're good. Let me go. I'm just going to go work for the next however long to pay this off. And so there were 13 others. I actually want to make a show about it. I've actually been writing a show on this called, I'm not even going to mention it yet.
How do you not go after her criminally?
Well, when the same person that you're trying to go after criminally is the same person you have to report the criminal filing to.
Couldn't you report it anywhere else?
State of California, you have to do it in the area that she's licensed in.
Couldn't you just have a lawyer do it on your behalf, and it's going to be filed? I mean, I'd be going after
for tens of thousands of dollars, which you don't have at that point.
Any lawyer would take that. Any lawyer would take that on contingency.
Still your negligence.
Yeah, you still owe it. But my point being is that if she, just as an example, got $100,000, I guarantee she has $100,000 of assets that you could seize.
But I think it's criminal. It's not like
you would go both. You'd be going after her personally.
So
and
but it's also wired. It's not in her name. It's all like it's very complicated. Like I can't go into detail because this is still an ongoing investigation. Like
I would say pursue it.
We've tracked it to offshore account shell companies.
Gosh.
Like no, we're not talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking tens of millions of dollars.
And once it's out of the country, there's really not much you can do.
And when
it's
you're targeting older actors and you're targeting people that like are structured pay, and once they lose that foundation underneath them, they kind of just can't fight anymore. It's super messed up. And this happens to millions of people.
Did you talk to all of the other like victims of this?
Oh yeah, no, we're all in connection. We're all still in contact. There's still a whole thing going on.
And but they're pursuing it.
No, there's nothing to pursue.
Dude, I'm telling.
There's
I know.
Once
the money goes beyond a certain point, you can't get it
there's
back.
There's nothing there.
But you could at least put this person behind bars. We know some great lawyers.
It's a little more complicated than that, though. You think yes, you can, but you're talking like years of litigation, years of appeals, years of forensic accountants. So the cost of that's probably going to be in the millions, and then it's like, can you recover? Probably not. What do you do? Put her in jail, and then it's again, though, this is very, very common, especially the young actors.
That's mind-blowing.
And it happens every day. It's probably happening right now somewhere.
So what's your advice to newer actors today when it comes to their finances?
I record it, mark down every dollar, keep track of it, stay on top of it, know where you're spending your money, how you're spending your money. I think technology today is getting stronger and stronger in where you can't hide money like you used to. Like used to is like, oh yeah, we have this stack of paper. Yeah, just put it in a shelf. No one's going to find it. Now today it's more digitalized. I mean, again, I do my best. I'm a fairly frugal person. But like it's really about just knowing where your money's coming in and where your money's going out. And once you have those two basic things down, there's more learning, but if you know where every dollar is going. Like I can tell you where every dollar that I have goes. Like down to how where it came in to where it's going.
Yeah. So where are you making most of your money today, and how are you investing?
I make most of my money through speaking engagements. I shoot about a movie a year. I do a lot of, I raise more funds though for nonprofits than I make, like by a lot. Which is how it should be. But most of my income comes from movies. I try to shoot a movie a year. They're nothing crazy, for the most part, low budget. But that's kind of, it's about grinding, and staying in it and staying active and constantly putting yourself out there for different projects. Like here today, people are going to see this and they're going to be inspired. And who knows, since we met with Ian and now this, and we've kind of kept this waterfall effect going through this trip, and just enjoying it,
It is crazy how we got here. So for those that don't know, I saw Beast Games on Amazon, and it was Macy's idea to send Jeff, the winner, a DM on Instagram.
Yeah.
I just sent him a DM, and he was here a few days later to talk about it. And then we became really great friends with him. And then through them, we met Matched.
Okay.
And he was also a winner on Mr. Beast. We became friends. And then through that, Ian Bick.
Yeah.
And then through Ian, us.
And then on top of that, after this, we're going to go try the best steaks in the world with Joshua Weissman, who's here in Vegas, and he invited us to go eat some steaks with him. We're like, oh, well, we're filming a podcast.
Yeah.
Can we bring RJ? And he's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds amazing. So now, like, it's weird, like the cobweb of
you never
connection.
know what's going to happen, man.
It's a very small world, and I find if you treat everyone with grace and kindness and care, like you really don't know how far it goes, and the impacts I can have, and it's definitely been a fun 24 hours.
Yeah. So when you got your first big paycheck though for Breaking Bad, what did you spend it on?
I'd probably say it was in the second season when I got my first nice check, like, and I bought me a pair of Louis Vuitton shoes.
No.
Yeah. I still have them today. I wear them. Yeah.
You still wear them?
They look brand new.
Why? How do they look brand new?
I just took care of them. You don't take care of your shoes?
I guess not.
No, not like that.
Like that.
No, that was one of my first. Like, I honestly don't collect a lot of things. Like, I pretty much have everything that I've ever significantly been given or got myself since I was like 9, and I've carried this stuff around.
Do you have
country?
Like a ton of things then?
Yeah. I got a ton of things.
What do you have?
I got lots of things. No. So like, I mean, as far as like what, like Breaking Bad stuff, like I got a bunch of meth from the show.
Okay.
But from season 1.
Okay, so it's like matured as time's gone on. It's like a fine wine.
I don't know about that. It's still rock candy. I have like my crutches. I have those shoes I bought. I have like, memorabilia.
Yeah.
I always. When I'm given like art and stuff, I can't throw it away. I went to try to clear out some stuff, and I felt so guilty when I tried to throw this one piece. And I'm like, I can't. I put it back in the box. And I'm like, I always want to have that. If one day I run into them and they're like, hey, remember that thing I gave you? Like, I can say without like question, yes, I do still have it. It's in my storage unit.
That's dangerous, because now I feel like most people, when they see it, they'll be like, okay, if I ever see him, I got to give him something, because they'll hold on to it forever. You're just going to have people like creating lines, just giving you a new thing.
It's quite the wait. But I'm a collector. Like, I have all my original Pokemon cards since
Cool.
I was a child. Like every pack that I opened when I was like 9 years old, and they're all still in mint condition.
What sort of Breaking Bad memorabilia did you keep?
I have my crutches.
That's cool.
And they're pretty sick. I have like I have a Heisenberg hat. Got some pairs of underwear. I have some of my clothes. I took really the only thing I truly wanted after the show was my crutches. That was like my big one grab was like at the end of the series, these are mine.
So did anyone fight you on that? They're like, well, I kind of want it. Like
the grip.
Did you? How do you sneak things away off of set?
Yeah, and do they allow you to take these, or do people just kind of like take?
You know that saying, it's better ask for forgiveness than permission. So I kind of asked the right people, was like, hey, you think this is going to cause a problem? And they're like, do it. And I was like, okay. And then a few years later, the Smithsonian wanted him. And I was like, no, I'm keeping them.
And you just store them.
I have them, yeah.
Do you ever use them?
No, they're memorabilia. I keep them.
Why wouldn't you give it to the Smithsonian though for display?
They're mine.
Couldn't you give it on a loan?
No, they don't do consignment.
Oh, really?
At all. They have to.
But they're missing out. I mean, these are like.
Well, they have another pair, but they're not the originals. You know,
wow.
I think about this. I used these crutches for 7 years straight. Like that, I was on those crutches for 7 years, and like they just, I had a hard time. Like when they were like, I thought about giving them. You know, I thought about and then I was like, man, I rather have them with me. I know they're
It
safe.
makes sense. It's not like something that was kind of fly by night. Like this was something that you held on to for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Heisenberg's hat?
So I don't have an original Heisenberg hat. Brian has his hat.
Yeah.
But I have the same guy who made I forget the style of cap. Not a bowler cap, but that type of hat. The hat maker who made all of them, we have like a box. And it's like, it has a photo of Brian as Heisenberg with the glasses, and it's like a yellow top and has this gorgeous hat in it.
That has to be crazy valuable. Like the authentic crutches, like a hat, like that's.
What do you think it's worth? Have you been offered money for it before?
I did get offered some money for it.
The crutches got to be, they have to be over 100 grand.
Yeah, it was over 100.
$100,000?
Yeah, they have to be.
No.
I got offered I don't exactly remember the amount, but I do remember it was very significant.
Is there a price where you would say,
No.
all right, $1 million for the crutches? $2 million?
No.
Wow.
No,
I think movie memorabilia is so cool to buy and collect.
It is.
I remember the original Beetlejuice book went up for auction, and it sold at some
the
crazy
guide,
price.
Right? The guide?
Yeah, but it sold some crazy price. But I think stuff like that is so cool to collect. It's one of a kind. It's so memorable. We were watching Gremlins the other night, and I was thinking, how cool would it be to get an original little gremlin thing?
Like a original gizmo?
Yeah. My dream would be able to get something from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Like one of the actual little...
Like stop motion guys?
Stop motion.
Like a Jack skeleton?
I would do anything. To get one of those little things are about like this tall. I would do anything for. I'm sure they would sell for a stupid price, but I can't see how that wouldn't be worth a ton of money in the future. I love that.
I mean, I think again though, it's all about perspective. But why don't you just like hit up Tim Burton and be like, hey, you mind making me a little Jack skeleton?
So what's funny is I met Danny Elfman at his warehouse, and he had them everywhere. And I couldn't help but just think, oh my God, I like all the little ones just around, all the memorabilia from all of his films were just with Tim Burton were there. And just to be able to look and be like, that was it.
How special is that?
Insane.
Like I'm one of those people, I tell my family, it's going to be my will. It's going to be like, no one's allowed to sell my stuff. Even after I'm dead. I'm already putting it in there. I'm like, no one's allowed to like, I'm going to like, it's going to be like a little museum. It's like, it's all yours. I'm not here. It's all yours. But
see, if you put them in the Breaking Bad house that you purchase behind some glass, could just be an artifact that
mean,
people walk in,
that's
they
some money right
Airbnb it.
there.
and
That
then
you
they-
could get such a good ROI on that.
I really
But
really
like,
think
but
so.
like, the thing is though, is like, what would be like, how long before return? What's your initial investment? Like, because she still wants $4 million, and that's not including the real estate fee and the
I bet you
tax
could.
and
I
the-
bet you could negotiate the price down. She would sell to you cheaper than she would sell to
100%.
to other people.
I mean,
Yeah.
possibly maybe like a 100-year lease purchase,
you go.
where it's like, okay, hey, look, we're going to do this. I want to pay you $4 million in my lifetime.
So speaking of money, though, you've said before that you respect money, but you don't like what it does to people. I'm curious, how have you seen money?
Hate money.
How have you seen money corrupt people in Hollywood?
Hollywood, you mean the world? Like literally, like, money is a tool. Like I look at money as, it's a tool. It's sadly a necessity in life. We need money to survive. It doesn't matter who you are, unless you are rural, local, native populate. Like, there's people that have lived a certain way for hundreds of years, but in a modern day society, capital, money, you can't do anything without it pretty much. You have to have these structures. And sadly, people, like, as you offered, like, what's my number, right? You're like, $1 million, $2 million. People do have numbers, sadly. And what someone is willing to do for the right number never ceases to amaze me. And people will sacrifice who they are for money, for clout, for whatever that is. And growing up, I've always worked. I've never not had a job in my life. Even as like a 5-year-old kid, I would be like, chores around the house. Let me go help pick fruit. Let me go do this. Let me go whatever it may have been. I always liked working. And so for me, it's not about necessarily like I need money to survive, but I enjoy the working. I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy what I'm doing out there, and money just helps it get that way. But I don't really set a number for myself. Does it make sense? Are we helping people? Are we changing lives? Are we having an impact? And then it also goes the opposite way, with what's your number? What would you be willing to do
We
for
do
$1
this-
million?
Dude,
we do this all the time. It
This
gets
is our-
it gets horrible.
Dude, this
Like,
is our favorite, the most depraved things in the car of like, yo, what would you do that for? Like 50 grand, 100 grand? And we
Yeah.
always get to a number where we're like, all right, I gotta say,
all right.
it.
Graham's numbers for some pretty like sus things are pretty low.
So-
I'm just willing to put that out there, guys.
You know what's funny?
They're surprisingly low.
Jack paid me once. I thought it was the easiest money ever.
Yeah.
We have it on video, licking a moldy bagel.
And it was right on the mold.
Yeah, and it was blue mold. And I said $15. And Jack says, all right, you have to leave it on there for how many
Yeah,
seconds? Like
I
5
said you had to
seconds?
leave it on there.
Like 5 seconds. I'm like, $15 for 5 seconds is a great ROI. And I just do it, and I feel some like burning sensation
And
on my
you know
tongue.
what's funny is what is $15 doing for you right now?
I don't
what is it
regret
doing for
doing
you?
it. I don't regret
But
doing it
that's
at all.
crazy, dude.
Why?
Because that could be why you are the way that you are. Like that
Because of mold?
I don't know, man. That can have some long-term ramifications.
I just,
I
I licked
hit
it.
the ceiling,
I
But
licked it,
15
and then I just washed my mouth afterwards. It was
I'm just
so
saying,
easy.
$15 to Graham now. It's like he can refresh his Schwab account and instantly, in like literally
It's
the
all
millisecond,
popping.
in the millisecond he refreshes it, it could vary
Yeah.
by probably $1,000. Like it's not going to make any.
It was so
But
easy
it's not,
to do.
It's not. See, that's where people mix up. It's not about the money or how much the money. It's just about it's the action of it. It's the bet of it.
No,
like-
it's just the ratio.
The
That's
ra-
all
the
it
To
is.
ratio,
Graham,
that-
it
that's
was
the
literally
ease to
like
dollar
if I
ratio.
can make $15 in 5
5
seconds, then my minute wage is this, my hour wage
Yes.
is this, and that's higher than I make when I'm
Yes,
editing.
exactly.
And it's like, dude,
Exactly. Per hour, that's a really high amount.
I mean,
per
that
hour.
is if you take that to minutes to hours to months, that
If
is
he
quite
could make a career and be a billionaire by just licking moldy bagels with that.
If I
Like,
could just do
could
that
be-
for 8 hours a day straight.
Let's see,
for
but let's make
$15
sure your
a
health
second.
insurance and life insurance policies in check for that, though. But going back to that point about my comment, desperate people, Money doesn't like people with money or people that have power with money don't freely give anything. It all comes at a cost. And when you have someone that desperately needs it, that's willing to do anything, that's where you get into a very dangerous scenario of power and what that person is willing to give up, who they are willing to be to get that power, and we see it in social media, you with videos and YouTube and stuff, people that like hurt themselves sometimes to get the sensationalism is in my opinion, like it's a dangerous game.
Do you ever feel like you spend more time managing your work than actually doing it? Because I certainly do. I mean, just between emails, documents, and all of these separate AI tools, you'll literally waste hours just switching tabs. Well, that's exactly why our sponsor Grammarly has teamed up with a bunch of other top tools to create something completely new called Superhuman. Superhuman is an all-in-one AI productivity suite that brings together Grammarly, Coda, and Superhuman Mail. It basically puts powerful AI inside the tools you already use so you can write, plan, and communicate without bouncing between different apps. It's not a chatbot. It's AI that works where you work. When I'm writing an email, it helps my tone to sound more professional. When I'm working on a doc, it helps me organize ideas or finish the section I've been stuck on. It's extremely proactive too. It jumps right in as soon as you need it with no prompts or setup required. It's like having an AI coworker that knows exactly what you're already trying to do. So unleash your superhuman potential with AI that meets you where you work. Learn more at superhuman.com/podcast. That is superhuman.com/podcast. There's also a link down below in the description. I highly recommend you just click it right there. Thank you so much to Superhuman for sponsoring this episode.
Now, when Jack and I first started the Iced Coffee Hour almost 6 years ago, it seemed like we had to figure out everything ourselves. From the best cameras to use, the best editing equipment, how to get guests, how to do sponsors. It was all new to us. Every day presented a brand new challenge. That's why if you're starting or running your own business, you know how valuable today's sponsor is, and that would be Shopify.
Shopify is basically your all-in-one business partner. They power millions of businesses worldwide, from major brands like Mattel and Gymshark to entrepreneurs just getting started. And here's a fun fact. If you've shopped online in the United States, there's a really good chance it was through Shopify because they power about 10% of all American e-commerce.
What's great about Shopify is that they give you access to a complete design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates to build a beautiful online store that perfectly matches your brand. There's no coding needed. Plus, their AI tools help you write product descriptions and even help enhance your product photos.
Shopify also makes marketing extremely easy with simple email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they're scrolling. Plus, they handle literally everything from inventory to shipping to returns, basically all of the complicated stuff you as an entrepreneur do not want to deal with.
So if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business ideas into...
So sign up for a $1 per month trial at shopify.com/ICH. Guys, I highly recommend this. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to start an online store, it's just $1 per month to try it out. You've heard the name Shopify. The reason is because they're the best and no one's even close. That's just the reality of the situation. $1 per month at shopify.com/ICH to give it a shot. Thank you so much to Shopify for sponsoring this episode.
People that like hurt themselves sometimes to get the sensationalism is in my opinion, like it's a dangerous game.
I agree with that. I think that acquiring money for the sake of just simply having money is where it starts to get dicey. If you think that money in and of itself is of value, instead of seeing money as a tool or a vessel to get something else, to help other people, to be able to provide for your family, to be able to go on a trip. Maybe it's been years since you've been on a trip and you're like, well, if I get this amount of money, I can now do that. Instead of just like getting money for the sake of it. I saw this one video that went super viral. It's unfortunately hilarious, but it's also bad. This guy pays another guy like $100 to drink a little bit of Ipecac.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
That's like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but that video, like too, like it grosses you out, and it also is kind of like it's
I
kind of.
always think of the Family Guy episode
What's that one?
with the Ipecac,
I don't remember that.
where they all drink the Ipecac and they're throwing up all over the.
I haven't seen that.
Oh man,
I gotta check that
that's
out.
what initially that video I feel comes from. But yeah, no, it when you start putting yourself in harm to make a quick buck, like the mold.
I don't think that's harmful though. See, if I genuinely thought I'd be like sick or out the day, then I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's
No, but like take that scenario times 50 or times 100 of whatever that is. people do stuff like that though. Like
we asked Togi recently. It was like a viral clip. He's a gambling like fitness influencer sort of guy. We asked him if he'd remove a pinky finger for $10 million, and he said he'd like remove his foot if he could for $10 million. And this guy makes a lot of money.
I mean, you could buy a lot of feet for $10 million.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
It reminded me though, I did get paid to eat a snail in Japan. I didn't want to eat the snail.
Was it an edible snail or was it?
Yeah, it was cooked in garlic.
Then that's okay.
Yeah, but I didn't want to eat it. And then a buddy was like, "I'll pay you $10 to eat it," and I said, "Sure."
See, growing up, my dad would do the same to me all the time. Like he was always like, he'd be like, "Here, eat this fat." Like from a steak, I'll give you $100.
Oh, we do that with wasabi all the time. It's just like eat the whole thing of wasabi, $20.
$20. But I think there's a friendly game of it, but then there's the darker version of that, and that's where the power is. And it's like, what would you? Because we're talking like $20, $100, but there are people that are doing this with hundreds of millions of dollars.
Squid Games, like Hunger Games, sort of.
But how is that much different from working a job, like a high-paid, high-stress job that you really dislike, but it pays you $200,000 a year?
I mean, there's a lot of people that live in lives that hate their jobs, but they stay because it's kind of the endless circle. I've definitely done jobs that I did not want to do, but I did it because I was free and it was paying.
Yeah.
Well,
then it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
But I find you cannot. Once you start questioning your morals, I believe everyone has a moral compass, and sometimes it doesn't always point the way it should. But I believe once you start sacrificing who you are, and when you start sacrificing your dreams to chase something else, like chasing someone else's dream, chasing someone else's money, when you start losing what made you and what made you have passion or art, because people get in the industry and they struggle. The acting industry is not like a very welcoming and warm industry. We're all competing for the similar job. There's one role that we're all trying to get, right?
It's a zero-sum game.
And so everyone's fighting for that one big break. And it's like, okay, you had the big break. Where's the next big break? Where's the next big break? And people were like, okay, well, I'll be willing to do this if I can get into this movie or I can get on this show. And it's not just money.
Are we talking like predatory behavior of that sort of stuff?
Yeah. But that all is all money related. It's all based in money. It's all based in capital. And what are you willing to do to be on this show? What are you willing to do to get what you want? And I find you always have to stay true to yourself. And I know that's some lame thing that people say, but it's the reality of it. Because once you start losing who you are as a person, what makes you, you've lost the game.
Were you ever presented with any moral dilemmas like that, where you had to think inwardsly, okay, well, what is the ethical thing to do here?
I had a moment where I had some people approach me, and they're like, "Come with us. We're going to make you a star." And I said no, and that was the last time I modeled.
So, what did they want?
I'm not going into detail, but I stopped it before.
You could sense it was going.
I knew they wanted something that I was not willing to pay. There's something in life that we have, and how far are you willing to go? Breaking Bad is a great example of how far are you willing to go to get what you want, either for your family, for power, for whatever it is. How far are you willing to go? And for me, I've always kind of had I'm not going to step past it.
How common do you think that is? And do you think it's more common with men or women, or do you think it's equal?
I think it's a fine line. I don't think it's because it's not a sex-based thing, in my opinion. It's a power. Again, it's power. It's money. It's fame. It's all these things. That's the sex, drugs, and rock and roll of what are you willing to do to be at top? What are you willing to do to be a star? And there are certain people that you see it happen where it's like they're a hit and everyone comes from you. And it's sharks, blend the water, the sharks come, they eat, everyone gets fed. And then hopefully you stay the biggest shark until another day a bigger shark comes and eats you.
It sounds really stressful.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
I get to do amazing things around the world. I work with numerous charities globally, and it definitely is stressful, but when you can see change in the world that you've done, and no one, I've seen where my work was when I started with Breaking Bad in disability communities and advocacy and awareness to today. I feel very proud of all the people that I've worked with and all the teams and organizations and nonprofits that we've worked with and helped and raised funds. And I raise about, I'd probably say $2 to $3 million a year for nonprofits, right, annually.
Yeah.
And so being able to see that change is in my opinion the most valuable thing in this world.
Could you shout out some of those nonprofits right now? We could leave links down below in the description too if anyone's interested.
I'm a big supporter of Shriners Hospitals for Children. I was a Shriners kid when I was younger. I went to Shriners Hospital from 2 to 18. They do amazing things, not just for people with disabilities, but just across the board for families. United Cerebral Palsy. I'm actually going to go in the next couple of weeks to do it for United Cerebral Palsy San Diego. But they're national. These both of these organizations are nationally. And then I work with lots of local municipalities. And I've done stuff with the UN in Eastern Europe and Germany. But those are my main two.
Mhm.
I like to shout out.
And I'm curious, in terms of investing, do you invest in stocks, ETFs, real estate?
A good REIT goes a long way.
Okay.
Sorry, what were you about to say?
Bitcoin?
I missed the biggest bullet of my life in 2009, man. I remember being at Hollywood Tower. I don't know if y'all know where Hollywood Tower is, off of by the 101 freeway. My friends live there. And I remember being at this radio, I forget what radio station it was, but they would have these concerts and stuff. And this dude's telling me about Bitcoin. He's like, you got to get it right now. It's going to revolutionize, blah, 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 all the things. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get it. And I don't know. I thought I bought some. I might have a laptop with some on it somewhere that I really hope that I find one day. But I missed it. But I like Ethereum. I do a little gambling, like Shiba Inu.
Did you make money on it?
No, I mean I think
No.
I'd probably say up on 20% on my crypto market. I don't have a lot of crypto. We're talking a couple of G's. We're not talking like tons of money. I'm very careful with my personal funds as far as investing. Professionally, I with the companies I work, we have different firms and stuff, and I've been the treasurer for many organizations over the years. I'm a big fan of due diligence and transparency, and most of my work I do, it's if here it is, it's publicly. But Charles Schwab.
Good.
Yeah,
they're great.
I love them. I've had an account with them for a decade. And
do you have a Charles Schwab guy, a guy you reach out to?
No, I just do it.
We have a guy on the inside. We can put you in contact with. He's great.
It's good to call.
It's kind of I like to I treat my stock account like gambling. So I like penny stocks.
No. Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
How do you get your penny stocks? Where do you find them?
So lately I've been using ChatGPT to do a lot of the research. I say, hey, find me these types of dividend stocks. Find me these types of structures with large cap capital and no debt. And I then have it pull up companies that have I've gotten some that have a 1200x on it. We're not talking a lot of money, but it went from I bought 200 of it, and now it's $800.
Do you have index funds?
I have a couple.
Do you have any real estate?
Yeah. I have. I want one. I don't like to. I also don't like to plug capital stuff. But there's like a couple. I look for like index funds or real estate funds that again have high asset allocations, that have minimal debt, and that show gross income coming in. And so I mean, you can't go wrong if they're making money, right? And so I look at it across the board of, okay, is it losing money but it has a high asset valuation, or is it gaining money and have a low asset valuation? And so I always tend to choose something with assets, something with tangible resources and growth potential.
Very interesting.
It's
You got to
different
teach Jack a thing or two about
It's a different
It's
strategy.
very different. It's kind of like gambling.
It sounds
Very,
like it,
yeah.
typically with
I'm
penny.
I'm a long-term holder. So like I'm someone that like I have this one stock. It's a interstellar mining company. They have rights to asteroids.
How do you even get a right to an asteroid? Is that like
You file for the right to asteroid. Anyone apparently
who?
with the
China?
government,
Like
with the
Russia?
with
Who owns it?
aerospace.
But how do we know
it's
America
aerospace.
owns it instead of
No,
like?
no one owns it. That's the thing.
Exactly.
No one
So
owns.
But then
no,
how do they own it?
no one owns these flying rocks. So like you have to. So like it's like so NASA identifies these types of structures, and you have all this like extra space. And they can hit it with certain telescopes. Like you have asteroids that are made out of solid gold.
So, but how do you make money off this?
So over the next 30 years, like they're going to mine these things
With what?
with drone hives, structured stuff. They're going to break off pieces, drop it, some of it allegedly in orbit.
I would sell, man. I would get out of this thing.
But how do we know that like they have the
don't.
right?
We don't.
This is a great business to be in.
Is this a
man.
large percentage of your portfolio?
No.
If it's money that you're comfortable playing around with,
But we're talking like it's increased in value. But again, most of my income that I make, I make it myself. As far as like my stock stuff in my portfolio, I use it with long term. Like I got a couple like million shares of some stuff for $100. But like, like you know what I mean? Like
He's buying like 30% of the company for like 500.
I love Monopoly.
Are you like more than 50% owner of any of these?
No.
He has
You got like
publicly
$300.
filed,
Well, the one that I'm talking about, you see Mattress Warehouse.
He's buying like some kid's lemonade stand.
Yeah,
basically,
dude,
like a
man.
60%.
There's this hustler. There's these two kids in South Dakota who sell the best lemonade. Like great ROI.
Do you have any desire to also have some like other more conservative investments, like an index fund or anything?
No, I do like S&P type stuff.
Yeah.
And like I mean, for the most part, like I do consulting for different firms and stuff like that. Joking aside, like
That would do
financially,
well,
like
yeah.
I'm those are my joke ones. But like it's for me, it's all about like long term structured growth. We reinvest dividends. Power, utility stuff, structure like that.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious. Still, as long as like you could do all of that stuff, as long as you're also doing like
look, I'm not rich or anything. Everyone assumes I'm loaded, but like I work hard for every dollar I have, and since I over the past 20 years of learning in finance and doing different structures and running boards, there's certain things that like where to invest, and then there's the gambling.
Do people ever hit you up for money because they see you on the show and they're like, dude,
All
you
the
must
time.
have. Like,
All the time. When the show first came out, someone hit me up to pay for their son's rehab.
Oh,
and
wow.
like blamed us and like a whole thing about like the show, and it's like we've just had one episode.
one episode,
Like,
and they already were.
yeah, coming down pretty hard on it in the beginning, but like I'm really good about protecting myself. I have a very tight knit family.
Yeah.
I don't really do anything or put myself to. I really don't. I do my best to keep myself out of vulnerable positions.
Do you have any financial goals?
Yeah, to just No.
That mining stock.
That mining stock.
Dude, we just did it.
Dude, that mining
I'm
stock.
telling you what, though,
bring it down.
If you end up, I should sell all of my gold right now because you're going to devalue the heck out of gold. If we have an asteroid that's made out of 24 karat gold and it comes down,
I want to invest
basically
in this
anyone
company.
that's holding gold right now, the gold will be, it'll become worthless.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that. Gold will always have value. It's in all the technologies. Like it's in your cars, it's in your phones, it's in this microphone.
Yeah, but your
here.
asteroid could bring it down like 50%.
Or raise technology because we use so little gold. Imagine if we had more of it to create stronger technology.
That's true. You could hedge your asteroid gold position with like some silly stuff.
Biotech. Oh, yeah.
You could put Bitcoin mining facilities on the asteroid.
Well, it's cooling.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Anyways.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's really, when it comes to investments, you always have to have due diligence. You always have to do your research and structure. And like I find, again, knowing where your money's coming in and where your money's going out, like really managing that. There's a lot of people that don't know where their assets are going. And there's a lot of money that just like, it's like, it was $1 here and $1 there and $1 there. But over time, those dollars really add up. And, knowing what your bills are, what your structured system is, and the life that you want to live. You mentioned financial goals earlier. I do. And I do have a lot of financial goals that I'm working towards. And, I'm a big fan of like real estate and stuff. Like I have a property. I lived in California, never could afford a house in California, but moved into Texas within a year, bought a home. And so, I think having strong assets are key in your life. And, the Pokemon cards don't hurt. They've
been going up. They've been going up a lot this last year, apparently.
But, really creating kind of a steady, stable portfolio income-based structure. My overall goal for me over the next 15 years is to really just get a nice portfolio where it has regularly structured systems and kind of just making it where it's like, okay, I don't have to go take that job next Tuesday.
So what do you think separates actors who have really long, great careers versus those who fade out?
I think it varies depending on the actor. I mean, I think it also depends on the civilization and the time that we're in. If we look at actors going back since the creation of television specifically, you look at the starlets of 1940s and 50s and 60s and 70s to the starlets today, it's a different market. It's a generational growth. It's a different type of either a resurgence or a desurgence of industry. And, I find it's about being consistent, showing up on time, knowing your lines, being, again, punctuality is so important in the industry because if you miss a day, like it was about $25,000 a day for Breaking Bad. So if you messed up that day, that's 25. That's time and money. You're everyone's hurting. And that can come from the smallest little thing, and having a strong chain of people that really work together, that show up on time, that keep pushing forward. I think that's where you see these actors that are popping off. And then right place at the right time. One thing I learned and I was told at a young age, life is the most important thing is when readiness meets opportunity. I don't know if y'all ever heard this, but yeah. We're so often not ready, but we have the opportunity. And then we're so often ready, but there's no opportunity. And I find when that iron strikes and you're ready to strike it and that opportunity comes and you're ready for it, that's where you launch and that's where you grow from.
How important are relationships and networking? How much is it who you know?
I mean, how else did I get here? You know what I mean? This is a great example of networking right now. From Ian to here to late. I think it's about networking, but not just networking and partying and doing all the things, but networking in a way that puts you in a light where people see your assets versus oh, that's that guy. Yeah, we see him all the time. Versus oh, he's coming through. There are these stars out Like when you see Brian walk into a room, right? It's a thing. It's not some simple like some random dude walking into the room. It's like an energy, and that's something that over time you grow and you learn with, and you create this energy, and I think like through trial and error, but being at the right place and the right time with carrying yourself properly and carrying yourself in a way that actually helps the community.
Now, does playing Walt Jr. make it harder to get other work in the future,
dude,
or does
so
it
hard.
does it open doors?
So hard, man. Like it opened a lot of doors, but I mean, you're still Walt Jr. Regardless, like, I was so young on that show. And so that was kind of like everyone else, Brian and Betsy and Anna, they've all had years of experience in shows and movies before Breaking Bad was a show that changed everything, right? And for me, that was kind of like that was like my first experience of actually being a speaking role and having that ability to walk into this. So for me, I kind of like where everyone else kept building, I kind of had to go back. After the show was done, I kind of had to backstep into like a guest star role or smaller parts that weren't so, because they're like, no, he's great, but he looks like Walt Jr. And it's like, no one, as an actor, you can't carry that. You don't want to carry your roles in every role, And so for me, I've worked really hard in selecting my movies that really highlight my acting ability versus just they hired me because I was Walt Jr. I was on Breaking Bad.
But you know what? Bryan Cranston did a great job, because when I first watched Breaking Bad, the first few episodes, I couldn't get it out of my mind that this isn't Hal from Malcolm in the Middle. And I was like, that's the dad from Malcolm in the Middle. And it took me maybe a half a season to get that out of my head. Like, he transitioned that really, really, really well. Same with Ed O'Neill.
Yeah.
I would think of him from Married with Children, nonstop. And it took a long time, but he was able to, even now I still think, that's Married. But he did it very successfully.
But it takes time.
Yeah.
And it takes continuously watching, being like, okay, that's this character, no longer that character. And I think it just having more episodes and more shows. But like, if you look at Brian and you look at Ed, they've had years of other shows and movies that no one ever knows of, And it's not about, it's about getting that one.
Yeah.
And being ready for it when you get it, that catapults you into that next thing. And that's kind of where I'm working on right now is trying to find a show that fits me. I shoot like 2 movies a year. But something that really is that next step, and but it's really hard to make another Breaking Bad again. You know, you don't.
Well, I don't think there will ever be.
No, it's impossible.
But I've seen with quite a few people like Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah,
after Home Alone, like he's been in plenty of movies since then. Like I'll see him; he does a great job. Same thing as like oddly enough, Nat Wolff, if you know who that is from the Naked Brothers band. Like he was that when he was a kid, and they had a TV show, and then since then, like he's been in some really interesting movies since then.
But you look at how long after that, though,
it was extremely.
It's almost like a change of appearance, though. Macaulay Culkin really changed from being a kid to now.
But there's always like this gap of societal transition because they love you so much as this role.
Yeah,
and then you're 30. Like, it's like you were a child then, and now you're an adult. So the transition, it's almost like a shock.
Yeah, same with Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe.
And like, look at his content though. Like he does some really far out movies, and I find it's all about stretching that view of you, and breaking that barrier of like, okay, you were this character for so long, and we love this character, and we want more of this. But let's see this. And then they go, okay, yeah, and then 5 years later, they go back to that movie and go, I really like that movie.
So what do you think, though, with the future of acting right now with AI and being able to clone people's voices and aesthetics, like for background actors, you could theoretically, like, and I think in the newest Gladiator, like a lot of those people just complete AI.
CGI, AI. I think everything serves a purpose, and again, as I look at it, as money as a tool, AI is a tool. Do I think it can replace everyone? No. Do I think it will change how we do things, how we see things, the information that we receive? Very big way. I think though it's as the industry comes together, right? And you see like AI boycotts, like for voice acting, and you see these structures of like of the union pushing back on AI. I think we need a better understanding. I think the technology is still so fresh and so new, and it's growing rapidly. I think it's about being able to still protect artists, um, but using different capacities to do that. With the .com, remember when like computers were created? No one like wanted computers. No one wanted the structure. Like people were like, these are just a fade. And now they're essential in our everyday life. We carry a computer every day. I think it's a double-edged sword, but as every industry grows and changes, I think we have to rise above it. As an artist, as someone that protects our brands, our art, our who we are, I don't believe AI can replace us. I think that is impossible. Like there's something about humanity that nothing else in this world, in this galaxy, whatever, like we are very unique in one phase that we continue, no matter what, we grow, we evolve, we adapt. So as we evolve and adapt, and as this new emerging industry of technology evolves and adapt and creates new problems, we create problems to fix it. And identifying the issues, identifying the structures, and being able to utilize it in a way that is conducive for growth in art versus being replacing art,
I'm curious, do you find any issue with non-disabled people playing disabled people in TV shows and movies? And what about dwarves? Because I know that there was like this big thing. I don't know what the politically correct term is. Little people. People that aren't little people playing little people.
This is how I look at able-bodied actors playing disabled roles. I think that if you can hire someone with a disability for a role that highlights a disability, you should always do that. Now, with that being said, if you're going to get someone like a Brad Pitt to play something, the amount of media you're going to get for that, either positive or negative, is going to raise a question, right? It's going to be thought-provoking. It's going to inspire. It's going to be like, we need more change on this. We need social this. We need structure on this. We need these opportunities. And I feel that in the industry, we kind of go through these phases of where we see a increase of people with disabilities and not necessarily disabilities, but accurate representation, right? Diversified casting. I think there's a fine line of bringing it positively into the mainstream media, or negative. I see there's both a purpose in that, because no one's always 100% accurate. But I think if you have someone with a disability that can play the role, that is that part, there's no reason why you shouldn't hire them. But if you want to try to sensationalize or something, like that's what you can do with a bigger name.
So I have a question about some of the lore of Breaking Bad.
Okay.
I'm curious, what scene was the most difficult to film, either because people kept breaking character because it was funny, or because it was just logistically challenging?
I know the desert. The desert was definitely challenging for the crew. I didn't spend a lot of time in the desert. I mostly because I was either eating breakfast or chilling in my room. I think one of the hardest, not the hardest, but I guess emotional parts for me during the series was when Walt Jr. finds Brian beat up at his new apartment, and he has a conversation with Brian about his father dying of emphysema and of lung cancer. And at the same time, my grandfather was dying of emphysema and lung cancer. And so it just, that kind of scene really meant a lot to me, and was definitely one of those high emotional kind of grasps that I really wanted to make sure we got right.
What's the craziest thing that you've seen someone do to get in character?
I can't go into detail about some things, but I've worked with a few method actors, and
Do you believe in that?
I believe there's a fine line of it. You know, I believe, like, because like I wouldn't call myself a method actor, but I do my best to always feel what my character's feeling. I find acting really is important on an emotional level. Like what those characters are feeling, how that character is feeling. And I use basis of my life and life experiences to make these characters feel a certain way. So as far as that aspect, yeah. But I don't, when you see people being an ass to people or like getting aggressive and it's like, I'm method. I'm like, dude, like, you don't have to be a dick.
You're supposed to be playing a nice person.
Yeah. Well, no, that's usually because they're not playing a nice person.
I know, I'm joking.
But
Yeah.
no. But like, I think it's a fine line, but I also think sometimes it's an excuse to be an ass.
That's interesting.
Like, and
So
to
just-
get away with things.
So that's what you've seen is that people like get into character like that and they won't break it.
They don't break it. And they carry it off. And I'm like, part of me doesn't think you're acting, man. Like it's like, I think you're like this 24/7.
Was there ever a scene?
Was that Tuco?
No.
Dude, I would love that.
No. Breaking Bad from every single person on there was a gem. Like really like quality, very meticulous, thought out casting. It's on some of the other movies that I've done that I'm like,
Speaking of Tuco, have you seen the lawsuit recently?
the with the hose.
Oh, so stupid. You hear about this, Jack?
Man.
He was washing his car and like he sprayed some kid with water
Well,
and they sued him.
So it goes a little deeper than that. So I found out some information and there's a statement by his team.
Yeah.
Because I know Raymond Cruz very well. Like I see Raymond. I probably hang out with Raymond, like Raymond and Daniel and Louis Moncada, who played the Salamanca twins.
No
Like
way.
I hang out with them, like, cause like I'll go do Comic Cons and stuff with them, and
That's so cool.
and so from what I understand, these like 3 girls parked like right on his bumper while he was washing his car, and started recording him, and he's like, "Hey, can you move?" And he splashed, and they called the cops. Like.
They want attention. They want attention and
people want
money.
attention.
That's all it is.
But I think I don't necessarily view it as a bad thing for him because he was in the national news, man. Everyone
They brought him up lately. Yeah, brought him back to the top.
hardcore, right to the top. Raymond Cruz.
So are you saying you need to spray someone with water? We can go down to the strip and just have some mayhem down there.
I'm good on that. I don't need headaches.
Did any cast member have like the giggles? Like they would have a hard
all
time.
the time.
Really?
All the time. We were all laughing. All the time.
Which scene elicited the most amount of laughs where you had to just redo it because it was too funny?
It wasn't about like redoing it or too many laughs. It kind of, Brian having such a comedic background, like everything he brought into it was very comedic. And even when he did serious roles, he really was good about creating an environment on set where, we had really heavy content. And it was very stressful content. But as soon as we said cut, everyone was cheering, everyone smiled, especially on the hard days. We had full support from our staff, from grips, electric, like painting, like set to it was all hands on deck every single time. It's been one of the best crews I've ever worked with and probably will ever work with in my life.
How were your nerves in the beginning of the show to the end of the show? I imagine stepping in and being your first like talking role. I mean, it's a pretty important moment in your life. Were you super nervous in the beginning? And I imagine you found your rhythm.
I didn't understand. I was such a kid. I didn't understand what this show would be. Like,
But did you watch Malcolm in the Middle?
So I watched Malcolm in the Middle, yeah.
So
but
that would be intimidating to be like in the same room with Bryan
I watched
Cranston.
it after Breaking Bad.
Oh, I see.
So I watched it later. Like, and I saw it, but I'm one of those people that I don't correlate people in TV and film together. So when I watch a show or I watch a movie, I don't carry the other work. I only see them in that role.
Got it. How did fame affect your friendships early on?
I worked really hard on keeping all my friends. I'm still very close with most of my old friends. Like, do we still talk regularly? No, but like I can pretty much pick up the phone and call my best friend from high school. Like, and he'd be like, "Hey, what's happening?" Now he has like all my friends now are like settled down and like family of 4. Like, but I worked really hard to not let fame affect me, not let the whatever the LA, New York, what I really tried, and I continue to try to always never let my work get to my head.
Do you remember the first time you got recognized?
It was probably the first time I got recognized was probably around like season 4, 5.
Wow.
Yeah, not until later.
That's
in the
crazy.
series. Again, we were really popular in Eastern Europe.
Wow.
I imagine now though that you still have a young face. Like you still look young.
I was
for
about
your
to say,
age.
like you look the
Yeah,
same.
you look like basically the same, which is great. Like that's
a compliment.
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's a good thing. I imagine this being like, arguably the biggest show of all time, one of the biggest shows of all time, certainly. That like anywhere that you go, it's gotta probably
I normally
cause
grow a
some-
beard.
Really?
Like today, yeah. Like
do you do a mask and like a hat?
no. I grow the beard. People don't expect me to walk.
Interesting.
That's
Like-
probably
like-
what
But
it
you get
is.
looks everywhere, I imagine. Does that there's a complete difference in like your life and Graham's life, I imagine, like going out. Like
There's accountability, right? Like, and for me with this role, with this medium, right? And one day you'll get there. No,
Thanks, man.
but like I've always carried responsibility with me in what I do, how I go out, and how I present myself, because there is cause and effect to my actions. Like I do Comic Cons. I enjoy Comic Cons because I love memorabilia. So like I'll go out, buy stuff and whatever. And the impact that I've seen on fans' lives, where you can change someone's perspective or have a conversation with them that they'll never get an opportunity to do, or ask a question like this, or I get a lot because of my disability. I get a lot of disability related, like young parents that love the show with a kid with a disability, and people see you, and now more than ever, people see y'all, people watch y'all, they listen to it, they rewatch y'all, and there's an impact on them from that, and they have their favorite episodes and their favorite structures, and I find when you're out in public, especially having a show like Breaking Bad specifically, there's a certain accountability you have to carry with you. And for me, I want every person I engage to leave it with a positive experience, to leave whatever we're talking about and being like, I can go tackle whatever it is I'm tackling. And that's something that I truly always carry with me in the back of my mind.
How did you navigate dating? Because I saw Bryan Cranston on Howard Stern said you were crushing it with the ladies.
Not anymore. I just got one lady.
We got earmuffs.
No, we're good. We're good.
If you could step, no, I'm kidding.
No, she knows everything. No, I just one at a time. No, it's I don't know. I think I did pretty well. I'm pretty happy with my dating life.
Would they approach you, or would you approach them, or how did that come to be?
I was always leery of people that kind of approached me. I'm more of like was more of a be like, hey, you want to like I never use dating apps. Like so like I've never used a dating app. They always scared me. Like it's like
People wouldn't believe it if it were
They
you.
wouldn't believe it. No.
no, they wouldn't believe it. And there's actually been people that have pretended to be me on dating apps because like I have friends that use that stuff and like
Are they successful on there? I think.
my friends are very successful on their apps.
No, I meant
but
people pretending to be you.
I would
Oh, do
hope
they have
not.
you in
They
some
had
pictures?
me. Yeah, I get my buddy would send me a screenshot like on Instagram or something, be like, "Yo," but it's not me. It's Walt Jr.
That's
they would have it as Walt
No.
Jr. Yeah, like it was
I
pretty
feel like we would
funny.
swipe on that just to see the.
Have you ever been rejected once?
Oh yeah. Everyone gets rejected. It's funny because it's people see the show, right, and they're like the show, and they don't really care about you. Like it's and that's fine. Like if you love Breaking Bad, I appreciate it. I'm grateful for it. Like, but like it's like knowing, and this is something that I've learned to protect myself at a young age too. But knowing not everyone's your friend. I think that's something that even I forget sometimes, but not everyone's your friend. Not everyone's there out of kindness. Not everyone's there to support you. Like sometimes people really want to see you fail. And sadly, when you go into life, dating, whatever it may be, you always have to remember not everyone's there for good intentions. And you give people the benefit of the doubt. You give them what you give what you get. And for me, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but also knowing that not everyone's your friend and you do have to be careful. And especially in an industry like this, like sexuality, like dating, it's a tool. And until you find that right person, that person that like is thick and thin, you find it and you can recognize it once you have it, but it takes time.
Do you still speak with Brian and Aaron often?
Occasionally, like I every once in a while, probably like once every year or so. We just did a
reunion.
Yeah, a reunion with Netflix. We did the SAG Awards and
Wow.
we presented. I want to say best drama to Succession.
I heard that show's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's very good. I'd probably say last year or year before last. So we all got together, and that was the first time we got together in quite some time.
So could you just call them up if you wanted to?
Yeah.
Theoretically.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't, but yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, they call, we call it. Yeah, it's not a problem.
That's cool.
I mean, I wouldn't be like
Hey
surprisingly
man, I'm
enough,
just sitting here hanging
I
out. What's
do,
up?
I do get people that ask me to call Brian, and I'm like, dude,
Okay.
That's just
like,
I'm going to tell you what would actually do incredible for you on TikTok. There's this trend where you call people and just wish them a good night. If you called Brian and you said, hey man, just wishing you a good night.
That would go insane. That's true. That would go.
That would probably get 10 to 20 million views if
See,
you were to do that.
I don't do TikTok though.
But if this were your first,
This is your spraying down the
This
people with
is-
the hose moment.
yes,
This is that.
this would go so viral online.
True.
You just calling him, hey man, just want to wish you a good night, and just pause, see what he says,
See, yeah, but
because he has such a recognizable voice. It would
He
do
does,
incredible.
but I couldn't post that. Like I would feel like I would have to be like, hey, I'm doing this to post. You know what I mean? I couldn't.
I bet he would love it. I don't know. I don't know him, but
I mean, he would laugh, but like I also have worked really hard. Not like as much as like my life is entwined with Breaking Bad. I've definitely worked really hard to not infringe on Bryan Cranston and
That's-
Paul. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like because like that's the number one
I
for the
get it.
show.
I
like
understand that.
like so I do my best. No, I agree. It would pop off.
Well, just consider it. It's in your back
thank
pocket,
you.
and you could pull it out at any time you want
I'll
to.
hide it back there.
All right. I want to bring this up too.
Yes, sir.
I bet this is not what you expected,
Oh no.
but you did some modeling,
yes, I did.
and I wanted to know the story behind this.
I'm assuming it's me with tits.
Yeah. I don't need to pull it up.
No,
you know
I-
what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
What's the story behind? Why?
Vivian Westwood. No, I modeled for like 4 years. In Germany and France and like across the board. I did modeling, and that was kind of like after Breaking Bad. It was like, okay, what should I do next, right? What should that next be that's going to make me stand out from the show? And so that started with modeling, and luckily I was super thin at the time, not so much anymore. But I really wanted to try to create something that was unique to only me, apart from the show. And so I was modeling and met some of the Vivian Westwood people. And so that was one of the Vivian Westwoods. I got like a little bag, right?
Yeah, but some of these fashion shows, I
They're
just think,
wild.
Why? And so when you saw that, did they present that to you?
Oh, yeah.
And then
What was your initial reaction?
Down. Well, at the time, that type of content was very sensitive, and like, let alone doing runway shows with a disability at the time too was something that was very unique. And so like it was a very unique thing, and fashion is all about sensationalism, right? It's like, what are the statement pieces? And Vivian Westwood was she's since passed, but she was such an icon when it came to punk and grunge and these types of abstract thinking and eco-environment growth. And so I went into it though with modeling being like, yeah, whatever y'all want. I just don't go nude. So I was pretty much up for anything. And they were like, okay, we're going to put this bag. They're like, here's this bag. I'm like, oh, how do I no, we're going to strap it to your chest. And
how is that artistic?
I mean,
maybe I just don't.
I mean, a dude with boobs at I think that was 2014.
It was a while ago.
2014, 2013, maybe. Like, the world was very different than it is today. What's socially acceptable then and socially acceptable now, like it's so wish-washy. Like, but when it comes to fashion, it's all about abstract and pushing the envelope and getting people to think, especially with like Vivian Westwood and Kenneth Cole and these types of entities that really want to change a narrative and change a perspective. And so I remember at some time, I think it was like Free the Nipple or was one of the really big campaigns at the time because women nudity was like not okay like it is today. And so I think when it comes to these statement pieces, like I did another one where they covered us in grass. It was like this line. We're walking through these like ruins, and like I'm covered in grass.
It seems like a social experiment.
It is. They are social experiments. How I feel about them, yes.
Okay.
And it's pushing the envelope. It's like, who can be the weirdest? I mean, have you seen the garbage dresses?
Yeah,
I've seen the meat dress. With like Lady Gaga.
But Jaden Smith even shows up. He wore like the castle on his head recently.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm thinking, what's the point? Like, you could wear a nice.
Well, people were talking.
We're talking about it right now.
Yeah. Is that so? The point is just to be talked about. In which point, then I get it. I get it to be the most absurd you can. So people are like, "Yo, did you see that?"
It's all about absurdity and again, pushing the envelope, pushing perspective. A lot of these types of like designers are very entwined into thank you. Entwined in communities and they're not all from the US. They're not all from one country or another. They all have unique different statements that they're making, like where they're at. Like if it's in Germany or UK or here in the States, like you see it more related to societal reflection a lot of times.
What's the weirdest opportunity you've had being famous in Hollywood?
Have you ever been able to lick mold?
Graham would maybe pay $15 for it.
Hey, man.
It just goes from Jack to me to you.
Look,
and then it's Jack's turn.
I've eaten mold. It's okay. You're fine. No. I would. Hey, yeah. 25.
25?
We
I
don't
guess
have
with
any mold.
inflation and everything.
That's with inflation. Yeah, I
that's
mean,
fair.
No, it's
Yeah.
all good. I'm glad there's no mold. I don't know what's the weirdest thing. I've had some weird instances though where like I've had someone try to cut my hair. Like while I like straight up came at me with scissors and like grabbed the hand and was like, "Whoa."
Wow.
Like a fan?
Yeah.
Because she wanted your hair.
Or was it a he?
No, it was she. It was a she. But yeah, I don't know what she wanted, but she.
Did you let her?
No. I don't mess with voodoo. Get out of here. I'm like, what do you want my hair for? Yeah, no. I don't know. I did a survival show. I did the island with Bear Grylls, and that was
that's
that
cool.
was insane. I had a blast. I really enjoyed it.
That's really cool.
That's neat.
No, I've done a lot of little odd parts. I did a series that was super weird called The Guardians of Justice. It was The Guardians of Justice Will Save You Now. I don't know if you know the director, Adi Shankar. He did like Dread, the new Dread. He has Captain Laserhawk, Castlevania, those types of shows. And so I did a series with him. It took 11 years. And it's live action and animation and stop motion.
Whoa.
It's like very, very niche market. But I'm very lucky that I get to do a lot of fun stuff.
So we have some rapid fire questions right before
Okay.
we wrap this up. What is the best breakfast item?
Bacon.
When people recognize you, do they call you Flynn, Walt Jr., or do they call you RJ?
Flynn.
Really?
I get Flynn a lot, which I prefer. Walt. Like, first of all, I prefer RJ, my real name. But yeah, Flynn all the time, dude.
What's the most common reference you get?
I get a lot of people that ask me to like curse them out, like how I did my dad, like call them, say it just like the show that you're a pussy, like all the time.
Could you say that?
Definitely. You know.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Curse Graham out.
Yeah, Chris, dude, that would be an honor.
Well, here, let me. Let me. You're a pussy. Similar, right?
It's good.
Right? It's
I
almost there.
yeah.
10 years later.
That's great.
Yeah.
I felt that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like one?
No.
A little bit.
No,
I feel like I just got hit by some
no.
shrapnel over here.
No, yeah, I get a few lines, but that's a lot of people want that. First, I'm like,
Do you enjoy doing that, or do you feel like a bit like
Like,
no,
what if
it's
someone like nearby, didn't really know what's going on? They just see you calling someone that.
I mean, I do it very selectively.
Okay, so you're not going to be in a crowded area.
No, well, no, and I'm not just gonna go like if it makes sense or like whatever. Like I appreciate people appreciating my work. I like so if taking that 2-minute time
Mhm.
to call them that, like I'm cool with it, and it's like they a lot of them will like run off giddy like schoolgirls. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
a grown
did-
ass man.
you made my day.
Oh,
So-
thank you.
That's cool.
What's the craziest fan encounter you've ever had?
I mean, the scissor thing with the hair was pretty crazy. I had a phase where people were trying to break into my house.
Oh, whoa.
And it got handled.
Wow. That's crazy. What's the most bizarre gift you've ever received from a fan?
Their hair.
You received hair?
Have
Have you kept that?
no, I did not.
You said you kept everything.
I did not keep that one thing. I got a weird box one time, and it had to go to a police department.
Wow.
What's your favorite meme you've ever seen of yourself?
I think my 21st birthday meme is pretty wild. I honestly did not expect that video to still be circulating 12 years later.
I missed the video. What's the video?
It's me over at the Palm at the Ghost Bar for my 21st birthday. And And it's just me walking into like the club with my friends, and they recorded the whole thing, and people cut it. It's on TikTok.
I'll check it out.
It's pretty funny. I'm like wired on Red Bull.
You did seem pretty locked in.
Oh, dude, I was so lost. I was like, cause like my buddies, we just came from the tables. We were winning. Like we went to a show. We were having a good time.
That's fun.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I think always be prepared for when readiness meets opportunity. I think that's kind of the best advice that I was given.
Who would win in a prank war? You versus Brian versus Aaron.
Oh, Brian all day. Brian would take us both down.
Wouldn't be close.
Wouldn't even be close.
What do you have next on the horizon? What do you got going on in your life?
So right now I have a movie called West Hampton with Finn Wittrock. I don't know if y'all know of him from American Horror Story and a bunch of other movies and shows. We just did Tribeca. We just did another film festival in New York as well. So that's really doing really proud of it. It's a great team of people. I have a couple movies that I'm in talks with at the moment. So I'm been attached to for a few years that I'm really hoping that finally get their funding. I have another movie coming out, hopefully either at the end of this year, beginning of next year, that they're still working on title stuff and where but really a lot of my work is foundation work based in Texas. So I've been doing this project down there with the community in like community development, parks, parking, entrepreneurship type stuff. So that's really kept me very busy for the past few years, but I'm working on getting on another show, just auditioning, man.
What's your dream gig? Who would you want to work with?
See that, man, that's the hardest thing. It's not necessarily who I want to work with. I just want another well-written show again. I miss that. I work on TVs and movie. I work on TV and movies that it's like it's good, but it's so rushed. And like one of my things, I really don't like to be rushed. Like especially when I create a character and I try to put myself out there, and it's like we're trying to rush through stuff that normally would take. Well, usually we don't have budget, but like it's like I really want to be able to go back to kind of where we had the ability to grow these characters in an environment with well-written, with a well-oiled team.
Do you think something like Breaking Bad can ever be written again?
I don't necessarily think something like Breaking Bad, but it's all about growth, you know? I do think there'll be another show that like caps it, you know? It's just in time.
It just
Squid Game was close the first season, but it didn't have that longevity though.
I think what made Breaking Bad so unique was the time that it came out and the content of the show. Nothing had been like it. The type of drugs, the type of environment, this was 2008. The economy crashed during the first season of Breaking Bad. So there were a lot of people with a Walter White mentality of how do I survive? How do I grow? And most shows I find today aren't based in realism. You know, I found Breaking Bad was very real as far as what these characters were doing, the family dynamic, the environment that they were having, and their impact on each other. It wasn't like controlled or contrived. It wasn't forced. It made sense. Everything that each of these characters made sense. And what didn't make sense was like, well, it makes sense now. Like, you know? And I think that's something that's really hard to capture. And I just saw Vince stayed on to Sony for another 4 years or so, which one of the best writers, man. Vince Gilligan is
Even Better Call Saul. I really enjoyed it.
This is a fun episode. You're
really
funny.
enjoyed this.
You're pretty funny.
You got to be doing more podcasts.
Why don't you create a podcast or something?
We've been talking about it. It's a lot of work, guys. Like
if you
what y'all do is not easy.
If you want help,
I don't know.
We are willing to help you with anything. We could tell you what equipment you need, what cameras, what mics. We could put you in touch with editors, producers, whatever you need. It can happen.
See, like that's I'm hoping. I'm trying to get. Let me get back on the show, and I'm definitely in talks on having my own podcast. But I just want to make sure whatever it is, it makes sense. And I've actually been talking to a local radio station about doing some radio for local community stuff. So
You would do very well as a podcaster. I'm just saying.
Okay,
with your reach, with the connections that you've built, these discussions are very interesting, and a lot of people don't get to hear them.
yeah.
Also, just
so-
motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm in. I'm definitely in.
Cool.
It's timing for me, and I think that's kind of why I was interested in doing this, and Ian's, and I really want to. I'm trying to get back out there more. I've kind of been hiding for the past few years, just in like my work and my philanthropy, and I think it's finally time to say what's up again.
Well, you're going to make some great cameos. And Joshua Weissman's video, I don't know when that's coming
gonna be
out.
hilarious.
but-
People are just not going to be.
Yeah, they're going to be like, wait a second.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
very
on.
much.
I really appreciate
Really
it. We'll link to
appreciate it.
all of your charities and everything you've shouted
Thank
out down
you.
below in the description.
Yeah,
really
actually,
enjoyed this.
one thing that I think that I did want to mention as far as like charity work and growth, the one thing that I can recommend to people about getting into philanthropy, you don't have to give money. Like, this is the number. Everyone always thinks it's like money, 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 money. It's not. It's about your time and willing to volunteer and willing to put out there. And like, I think that's one thing as far as charity work. With my charities, like, please support them, whatever. But if there's, at the end of the day, it's what's important to you. Like, what directly impacts you? I look at one thing, and it's called direct impact programming. And it's, what do these programs directly do? Who do they directly impact, and how are they directly impacted? And when we do philanthropy and we do like organization or community growth, I always remember to look at, are you directly impacting the community that you want to serve? And that to me is step number one when it comes to philanthropy.
I love it.
Thank you
Well said.
very much.
Thank you.
No,
really
thank you,
appreciate
man. It's
this.
such a pleasure.
Thank you to everyone for watching. Hope
And-
you enjoyed.
Oh, make sure subscribe too.
Subscribe.